What's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday. This is the Real Talk Live. I do these every Tuesday for athletes and parents sending me questions. So, I've been really grateful for y'all for following me and for giving me questions to be able to answer for y'all. So I'm super excited to be on here. So just so y'all know how this process works. So I'll usually post the day before on my stories or really my stories day before or the day of, where I am basically asking for what questions you might have for me. Now you can send me questions throughout the entire week and I'll always have them in hand on the side, but also I also will answer the questions that I get there first. And if there is time at the end, I will also ask your questions. I'll also answer your questions if you ask me here, but if not, then I make sure I copy them so that I can have them for you in the future. So we'll jump right in because I try to be on here for 20 minutes at the most. I am in Louisiana. I'm hanging out with my family. Just got here today, so pretty excited about that. But let's jump in, y'all. So I got a couple questions today. So one of my first questions that I got, I wrote them down, so I made sure I have them. But the first question I got was, is social media a requirement for you to be recruited? Okay, so is social media a requirement for you to be recruited? Y'all, what's up? I see all you guys, Charlie and Reagan and Elle, Franca, Amora. I see all y'all, by the way. Kay Dinker, I see you. Maddie, I see you. So let's say, is social media necessary for me to be recruited? I want you to think about it like this. As a coach, I just mentioned that I just got to Louisiana. I was on a flight. I was in the airport today. I was in an Uber or a ride today. I drove 45 minutes to get to my hometown in Louisiana. So think about it like this. Where are the coaches most in their pastime? All right. And so the answer to that more than likely is they're in some places where they are pastiming like you would do. You would jump on your cell phone, go to your social media and look at you. So, and scroll. So you don't have to have social media like that. I'm going to be clear, but I think it's very beneficial to your recruiting process if you did. So my suggestion would be to definitely set up your social media. And if I had to choose which one over the other, I would say if you already have an Instagram, use that Instagram and push it as best as you can. But if you haven't started yet, I would go to Twitter first. Do Twitter first. Set yourself up there. It can be a little confusing, but it also is a really good place to do it. And then I would just say, if you have an Instagram, also just post on both places, right? Some coaches go to one, some coaches go to the other. I think most coaches go to Twitter. But there are some coaches who, for me, if I'm looking for an athlete and I go to Twitter and I don't see you, if I go to Instagram and I find you, that's still great. I'm going to take the extra step. Some coaches won't. So the idea of having social media and putting yourself in that good space, putting yourself where they can find you is really important. So everybody sometimes has sports recruits and NCSA and all the things, and those are not bad organizations. But again, if I'm in the car at the airport on a plane and I am passing time, I'm going to go to my social media. So why not be where the coaches are in your journey? So I would recommend, yes, it's not required, but I think if you want to put yourself in the best scenario to be seen, definitely go on social media. What's up, Brian? What's up, Lauren? What's up, Melissa? I see y'all. Thanks for joining. Steph, thanks for joining. I'm going to bring Steph up here in a little bit. She's one of my former players. We'll get her going in a minute, but a couple other questions. So how do we know what coaches are looking for in certain classes? Okay. So I'll be honest with you. There's no real way that you know that what coaches are looking for. You kind of do some background research to figure out if that adds up. So what you want to do is, if you are, let's say you are a junior, you want to look at their junior class on their roster of their school, go to their website, look at their roster, and you want to see how many juniors are graduating from their school. So this gives you sort of a basic understanding of potentially they might be looking to replace these positions in this class. Okay, so that would be the basis of where you would look. Outside of that, unfortunately, you don't really know if a coach is looking for a pitcher in a 2024 class. But this goes back to just the understanding of recruiting in general, and that, remember, it's a 4-step process: the exposure identification phase, the evaluation phase, the comparison phase, and the offer phase. So every athlete has to run through this runway, regardless of when you start. And I would say if you are a junior or senior, you haven't been through the first two parts of the runway for that particular school, it's really hard to know that you're going to be an athlete that they look at, especially at the Division I level. It's going to be really hard to see and determine if you're looked at that level for that particular school. It's possible, but you don't really know. So I think the best things you can do is what we've been talking about this whole entire time is check the roster. If you can get to their camps on campus, and see like if they give you any feedback as far as like what they're looking for, and be able to ask. So the way that recruiting works, if you are not in the class where you can speak to a coach directly outside of camps, you can speak to them at their camps. So that's another reason why you want to be on their campus if you are younger, or if you are older and just haven't been able to create that relationship with them. If you can get on campus to their camps, you're now putting yourself in a situation to actually have a conversation with that coach. So how do athletes get on coaches' radars earlier? Getting to their camps on their campuses. Okay, so that would be my answer for that. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so my next question is, we have some athletes that I have worked with and some athletes that I've heard from, and families where they're in places that have high school ball at the same time in the fall, right? So most of the country has high school softball in the spring, but there are some places, Iowa, Nebraska, Atlanta, there are a few places where high school ball happens in the spring, or the fall, excuse me. So this gets in a way for a lot of people, or in their brain, it gets in the way for a lot of people. So I kind of want to just I just kind of want to touch bases on that real fast. Okay, so here's what you have to understand. The college world, the majority of the world, but the college world specifically is who you care about the most. They run on this system. Fall, they have workouts, camps, right? They're getting their team ready for the spring. Spring is where we play, so we're not paying attention to athletes very much at all. Summer is where we heavily recruit, right? And then the fall repeats itself. So that timing doesn't change because you play high school ball in the fall, right? So I think you have to understand this concept of like, okay, just because I play high school ball in the fall, I'm going to have to now figure out and have that conversation with my high school coach to let them know, like, I am looking at schools and I do plan on going to their camps that are in the fall. So I think just having really good communication with your coach, your high school coach, especially when this happens, would be really important. What's up, Sophia? What's up, Perez? I see y'all. What's up, Roots? I see you. But I would say, like, make sure that you're having communication with your coach, because, again, it doesn't change our program or our system of how things work because you play high school softball, right, in the fall. So my best advice would be to you is to still target getting to those schools on their campuses in the fall, because I believe fall is the best time to go to our college specific camps on campus. And then I would say, for those of you who, what's up, Fierce Softball? I got your question. And then for those of you who are not playing in the fall, this is also still a good time for you to be in the space of those coaches in their areas in the fall. So, and playing showcases and tournaments. So hopefully that helps. What's up, Crystal? What's up, Mercedes? Good to see y'all. So I'm so glad that you rewrote that, Fierce, because I almost forgot that question. You sent that to me last week. I will make sure I cover it. Let's see. Excuse me. I have an athlete that asked me, they're getting ready. They got an invite to talk to a coach, an NAIA coach. They're a junior, which is really cool because they can talk to NAIA's coaches at any point in the year. Maybe one day I'll go over the different divisions and like how the communication processes work between them. I think that would be beneficial. Would that be beneficial to y'all? Let me know in the comments. Put a yes if you would like to know what schools you can talk to as early as 9th grade. Put a 1 in the comments if that's something you would be interested in learning more about. Let me know. What's up, Heather? Way to join. Thank you for joining. All right. So she has a camp coming or a conversation with the coach. Thanks, Charlie, for responding. She has a conversation happening with the coach, or she's getting ready to schedule a conversation. Okay, I see you, Coco. Thank y'all for joining and responding. So what kind of questions should they ask? What's up, Mercedes? Avery, I see you. All right, so let's go through it this way. I like to start every conversation that I have with coaches based off of my skills and the value that I bring to a program. So what I would want you to do first and foremost is to pinpoint 3 or 4 things. What's up, Mary? Pinpoint 3 or 4 things that are your strengths. And then what I want you to do in that process is I want you to be able to ask a question to the coach that relates to your strengths. So I have a picture That's in 2026. She just had a visit with a couple of schools, but she had one visit with one particular school. And I kind of want to give you the questions that I gave her so that you can kind of get an understanding based on her skills, what I want her to ask. So one question she asked was, what qualities do you look for in a pitcher who becomes a key contributor in your program? So what qualities do you look for in a pitcher, and how do they become key contributors in your program? So now what you're asking is, you're telling them you're a pitcher, right? But you're also asking, what do I need to do in order to get an opportunity to play in your program, not just be a recruit? Make sense? Softball and person strengths, Steph, but we're talking specifically about softball, but I think they all are correlated. So be clear. Like, I think we look for random things to be our strengths, but our strengths are our strengths, and they really can correlate between both. Another question I have her ask is, based on what you've seen from me so far, where do you think I could grow or add the most value to your pitching staff? Okay, so based on what you've seen from me so far, what do you think that I could grow or add to pitchers? To add value to your staff. Another question she would say is, how would you describe your coaching style when it comes to pitchers during games and in practice? So does your coaching style change from practice to the game, right? And it's good to know that, right? Because some of us have a perception of our coach from practice, and we really like how they coach us, and then all of a sudden the game comes and they become somebody completely different, maybe more quiet, maybe more animated, maybe more vocal, and you're caught off guard by that. So being able to understand that, how they kind of shift, is really important. Now, I also gave her questions as it related to her going on a campus visit, which I'll cover at another time, but hopefully that helps. But you want to kind of create questions like that. I'll give you one more. What are some things your best players consistently do to help them earn time and trust from your coaching staff? So again, athletes in my program, I help them write these questions. So I'm thinking about, as a college coach, what do I want my players to know about coming into my program? And then how do I get her to ask the questions that get the coach to realize that you care, or you know that I want that thing? Does that make sense? So it's a really cool sort of concept. Yeah, those are some of the questions that I would ask. So thanks for asking that question. All right, so verbal versus, we got one more question I'm gonna answer, and then I'm gonna bring up someone, because I have a concept that I put a video out today that I really want you guys to hear. So what's up, Ruby? What's up, M. James? Bring your game up. I like it. I like that name, actually, by the way. But I have one more thing I want to answer, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna bring up someone that I believe will be beneficial to a video I post today. All right. So the last question is, what's the difference between a verbal commit and a verbal commit and a written commit, and how long do these verbal commits last, and are there penalties for breaking commitment? This is a really great question, because we talked about offers a little while ago. So every athlete that coaches want to recruit, if they're not seniors, we technically can't sign what we call NLI, so national letters of intent. So everybody who commits to a program prior to their senior year and prior to the commitment date in their senior year are technically verbal commits. Okay, so basically it's just a understanding, a handshake agreement that you and I are saying that we're committed to each other. Okay, so we're going through the process, getting your application in. We're trying to get you acclimated with what it would be like or mean to be a player here, what things should you be doing on your own to kind of build that skill up. But it's a verbal commit until your senior year. Once your senior year comes, there's a date. I can't think of the date right now, but there's a date that comes. I think it's November 1st. The early signing day is November 1st. But come November 1st, or whatever that date is in the fall, you now get what we call a national letter of intent, and you have like a couple days to sort of sign that. And so the national letter of intent, once you sign that, is a actual agreement, a lawful agreement that now you are really going to that school, and that we're going to, whatever scholarship we've offered, whatever admissions process we've guaranteed, it's going to all happen. Up until then, you can break your verbal commit at any point. And the sad part about it is the coach can also break their verbal commit. So once you get committed, it's really important that you continue to build a relationship with that coach. So that way you're not losing the opportunity to be a commit. Now, the unfortunate part about this process is because it is verbal, there are a lot of athletes who are committed at one point and then the coach gets fired. And unfortunately, sometimes that verbal commit doesn't transfer from one coach to another. So that's kind of a little bit of a scary thing. But if you can get in writing that you guys have both committed to be a part of each other, so via email, which if you have a good coach that you're working with, they should also give you a verbal email. And so in that particular case, it can be honored. It's still not guaranteed, but at least gives you a little bit more of a footing that this athlete is a person that has committed to our program. So I would say that. Now, let's say you sign on the dotted line and then you decide you don't want to go to that school anymore. There's no penalty. I think it's just a courtesy to have the conversation with the coach. They will basically go to their compliance people and null and void that contract. So decline the contract, and then you're free to go and play somewhere else. There's no necessarily penalty for it. It doesn't look that good. But if you decided like, hey, I committed to this team when I was a freshman or a sophomore, and now that I'm a senior, I don't believe that they align. I think it's better that you do it now than get to that program and then get into the transfer portal. So if you have any sort of it struggles with like, do I really want to be at this program? Then I think it's really important that you have that conversation and break the commitment if you have to. Okay. So very good questions. Again, just so you guys know, if you have questions, the way that I kind of do this is I will post in the middle of the day, or the day of and the day before, to request your questions, and then I will cover your questions in the call. So if you send me questions now, I might not be able to get to them. It depends on the time of everything. So unfortunately, I am out of time on the questions for the most part. Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna answer this one because I think it's important. If a coach is in the stands and a coach can't come out and talk to them, can a parent talk to them? Ask if they are here for someone. Yeah, absolutely not. Please, whatever you do, parents, do not talk to the coach. I'm just going to say that straight up. So please don't do that. Ella Parks, what's up, girl? She's one of my girls. I appreciate you for joining today. Kylie, Allison, thanks for joining. So no, absolutely not. The relationships, if you look at one of my videos, I talked about relationships between travel ball organizations and college coaches. Your travel ball coach or your liaison for your program should be the only one talking to the coaches. Okay. Now what tends to happen is, what's up, Faith? What tends to happen is parents and even the liaison sometimes can be over chatty with the coaches. But really we can get in trouble if we're talking to your parents and your athlete is not necessarily of age. It's just like talking to you. So as an athlete. So I would say stay clear. If that's a school or that your daughter's interested in, I would go talk to her travel ball coach and tell the travel ball coach, hey, can you please go talk to that coach for my daughter? So there you go. Good question. All right. So I'm going to wrap up with this. I'm going to spend an extra 5 minutes because I think this is really, really important today. Remember, if you have questions in the future, send them to me now. I'll make sure I write them down, or on the day of or the day before, I will also I will also post in my stories for you to send me the questions. Okay. So stick around for this. So how many of you guys, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. How many of you have ever said to yourself, what if I don't get recruited? What if a coach never sees me? What if my skills are not good enough? What if I never get an offer? Put a 1 in the chat if you've had this question come up for you in your brain. You might not have said it out loud, but maybe you said it in your brain. Put a 1 in the chat for me. Yeah, absolutely. I know most of you have, because even I have had these thoughts. But you know what's really interesting is that our mind and our brains are a very powerful tool. And oftentimes your brain only follows the direction that you give it. So if you give it the what is, I appreciate y'all for voting. If you give your brain the what if, and you put a negative behind it, your brain believes it 100%. Now, what's interesting about that and what's so powerful about the statement what if is that if you instead say what if and you add a positive or a plus or a productive statement after that, your brain also can believe that. So what if you get the offer? What if you make the great play? What if you hit a home run? What if you get a base hit, right? What if you get to accomplish your dreams and play at the next level? So some of us, these are like tools that you have, but some of us have a deeper struggle with this sort of process. And I have a very special person that I want to introduce you to, just in case you ever want access to information on how to work through some of these thoughts that you have, right? Or some of these fears that you have. And so this person is actually a former player of mine. Her name is Dr. Stephanie Haft, and I'm going to bring her up. Steph, I think you have to, oh, I might be able to do it. I was gonna say, you think you have to invite yourself, but I think I might be able to add you. Gotta find it. But I'm gonna bring her up real fast so you guys can just hear a little bit about her and what she's doing on your own. So I'm gonna invite Steph. I think I invited you, Steph. Let me know if you got it. Oh, there she is. Thank y'all for joining, for being on. So this is Steph. What's up, West Coast? What's up, Firehouse? Appreciate y'all joining. We got about 5 more minutes of this. It's getting dark out here. This is my timer. But this is Dr. Stephanie Haft. She's one of my former players, and now she is doing amazing work with athletes and people across the world, just in a lot of different things they're dealing with. So I wanted you to be able to introduce yourself, Steph, and share anything you got for us today.
Hey everyone, glad to be joining. I'm a clinical psychologist. I played softball starting at a young age and ended up taking the NAIA route and did the big fish, small pond type of experience for my college career. Ended up working out and was able to go on to grad school and complete my PhD. And actually, Coach Carter, the story you were just telling about making a verbal commit and then the coach leaving, that happened to me, and it was a really stressful experience, but I was able to kind of continue on at that school. But yeah, a lot of my work now is helping people tolerate and manage anxiety and help kind of overcome fears that are getting in the way of doing the things that people want to do. That what if piece is a really common one. I like to use the word maybe as a tool as we're in these moments of doubt of like, oh no, what if this bad thing happens? Oh no, what if I swing at the rise ball? And to throw in the word maybe there is an opportunity for us to kind of sit with that uncertainty of the not knowing.
Yeah, I love that so much. And so, like, in general, ladies, I want you to know, based on all the ones that are in the chat, that we all go through some of these thoughts, right? And I think some of the most elite athletes take the opportunity to understand, how do I really work through these? Because if they keep coming up, it's only going to get higher and worse as I get to college, because there's going to be more to the game. There's going to be more on the line in your brain and your mind. You're going to make it bigger than it actually is. So having sort of tools and people to work with to kind of navigate, anything that you might be going through when it comes to acclimating to college and acclimating to playing at a high level. I just think you got to have resources. And so I really want to Steph, Dr. Half, excuse me, to come on and just tell you guys a little bit about her and what she does. And so, Dr. Half, if any athlete or parent notices their athlete struggling, maybe they do really, really well in practice, and then it comes to game time, and then you can see they just completely go in a different direction. Is that something that you help with?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there are a
Yeah.
lot of things that we can do to sort of practice that nervous energy that comes up in game time that doesn't always activate during practice moments, that we can kind of simulate how to create those more stressful situations in practice so that people feel more.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm also thinking just about, like, even it could be really great. Like, I do really well in my games, and then all of a sudden the coach shows up, and all of a sudden now I just am like freaking out. Do you help with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
A really common experience for us to get nervous when other people are watching us, even parents. Like if having people we are really close to, siblings, friends, parents come and watch us, that can even be a really stressful experience, adding on the extra layer of a coach. So absolutely. And with practice, people can get a lot better at that. And
Yeah.
the bigger places that people go on to play, it's even better preparation to play on those bigger stages. So I think it's really important to start early in working on that.
Absolutely. What's up, Christy? What's up, Chloe? What's up, Morgan? Yeah, so I think just in general, like, I was literally on a conversation call with my pitcher earlier that I actually shared the questions with you guys with. She was the one that sparked the video, the what if video, because she's really been struggling to get the ball to the catcher as a pitcher. And so just imagine level of frustration and her feeling like she's digging herself in a deeper hole and she can't get out of it. And she's playing in PGF this week. So being able to have a resource or someone to talk to or call or have tools to work through is really, really important. So I wanted to make sure that you guys saw this face. Who is a really dear person to me, and I know her work is amazing. And so, again, one of my former players. So anything that I can do for you guys to help you with this, I will. So what I'll do is in this live, I will tag her information for you all so that you have it. And anyone that comes back to watch the live will be able to see it. But do you want to say it out loud just in case what your website might be? And you could even, I might be typing in the comments. I don't know, but
Yeah, I can do both. So
okay.
my best way to contact me is reaching out on my website or my email. So my website is Haft, Haft, that's my last name, exposuretherapy.com. And my email is the same at Gmail. So I'm happy to drop that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. You gonna put in the chat?
Yeah, I'll drop it in the
Okay,
chat.
cool. Drop in the chat for us real fast. Thanks for joining all y'all. I appreciate y'all for jumping in. So this will stay on my feed. So it'll also go to my YouTube channel. But if you have questions or you have questions for next week, make sure you tune up. Make sure you look on my stories the day before and the day of for you to be able to assess or add your questions or send them to me in a direct message, and I'm happy to respond to you. But definitely check out Dr. Haft if you have any questions or you deal with any of those struggles, and let's become dominant in all the things that we do. Can we have your Instagram handle too? Crystal asked, can she have your Instagram handle too?
My Instagram handle?
Yeah, she asked, can she have yours?
Well, my Instagram handle, it's private. So you can have it, but I might not reply. But yeah, a good way to reach me is I have also my phone number on those sites too. So we'll be able to get in contact. And I offer a video consultation. So if you're unsure if mental health skills or mental health sessions in general could be helpful for you, I'm happy to set up a video call with you and talk about what's going on and how I might be able to help.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm fading in the darkness of the night. So that means my time's up. I don't know if any of you guys are not that young, but there used to be a rule when kids used to play outside that if the street lights come on, you gotta go ahead and you gotta go inside. And so that's my cue here. The street lights came on. So thank y'all for joining. And super proud to be a part of this with y'all, and super proud of you, Dr. Haft, for all the things that you're doing. So ladies and parents, we will see y'all next week on Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Central, all the things, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us here. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.